Welcome back to the Nauvoo Chronicles, where we share stories of faith, endurance, and the unseen hands that guide us. I'm your host, and today's episode is called Trail of Sacrifice, Faith in a Prophet's Promise. This is the true story of Mary Goble, just 13 years old, when she began a journey that would demand everything she had and then ask for more. Mary and her family left their home in England with one purpose: to join the saints in Zion. Like so many others, they believed the gospel was worth crossing an ocean and enduring the wilderness for. But the cost was higher than they ever expected. While trekking west with one of the late handcart companies, Mary lost 3 of her siblings and her mother. The prairie took them before they could reach the Salt Lake Valley. She and her remaining 2 siblings pressed forward through bitter snow. By the time they arrived, all 3 had frozen feet. Mary later recalled the moment she met Brigham Young, the prophet, who had called the saints to gather. She said, "He had tears in his eyes when he looked at us." A doctor examined Mary and said her feet were too damaged. He would need to amputate at the ankle. But Brigham Young intervened. He looked at the doctor and said, "No, only take the toes. No more will have to be removed." Mary believed him. But months went by and her feet didn't heal. In fact, the pain only worsened. She returned to the doctor. Once again, he said her feet had to come off, but Mary refused. She clung to that single sentence from Brigham Young. She trusted the promise of a prophet, even when the pain screamed otherwise. Then one day, while Mary sat weeping in her home, a knock came at the door. A little old woman stood there. She said simply, "I felt someone needed me." That woman listened to Mary's story and quietly got to work. She made a poultice, placed it gently on Mary's damaged feet, and came back every day to change it. This went on for 3 months. And then, something miraculous happened. Mary's feet healed, not partway, not temporarily. They were whole. When she returned to the doctor, he didn't believe her. He assumed the condition had worsened. But when Mary showed him her feet, he stood in disbelief. "It's a miracle," he whispered. It was. But it was also the result of faith. Faith in a promise, faith in a prophet, and faith in the quiet grace of God working through a stranger's hands. Mary Goble's story is one of thousands. Stories that testify that even when the frost of trial bites deep, there is a warmth in the promises of the Lord, spoken through His servants and fulfilled in His time. Thank you for joining us today. If you felt something from Mary's story, we invite you to share this episode with someone who may need a little reminder of faith and miracles. Until next time, I'm your host, and this has been the Nauvoo Chronicles.